Welcome to this introductory workshop on the Riyadh Infrastructure Project Center Infrastructure Code. So the code is a key initiative developed to support sustainable and efficient infrastructure development across the city of Riyadh. Whether you're a contractor, consultant, or part of a service entity, this session will help you understand the structure of the code, how to navigate it, and how it applies to your role in infrastructure projects. This workshop is divided into four main parts with a focus on the first three, which are the core of the presentation. We'll start with an introduction to the infrastructure project code, what it is, why it was developed, and who it's meant for. Then we'll move on to the components of the code. So since the code is extensive and detailed, we want to explain how it's structured and how to navigate it effectively. After that, we'll get into the specific code items. These are the actual standards and requirements, especially the ones that directly concern contractors. And then we'll conclude with a brief summary of the key takeaways. So this workshop provides a general overview, but it's essential that you take the time to read through the full manual in detail. So now I'm going to introduce the infrastructure project code. So you may have never heard of this project code before, and you may be wondering, what exactly is it and why does it matter? So the infrastructure code is much more than just a document or a set of guidelines. It's a strategic tool developed by Riyadh Infrastructure Project Center to completely transform how infrastructure projects are carried out in the city. So the code is essentially a comprehensive set of technical standards and requirements developed to regulate infrastructure work in Riyadh, from planning and execution to monitoring and closure. And the code was developed after extensive research and benchmarking against international best practices, ensuring that it reflects global standards while being tailored to the needs of Riyadh. It outlines clear requirements that must be followed across defined stages of a project, and we'll explore those stages together shortly. So what is the real added value of the infrastructure code? The infrastructure code introduces a major shift in how infrastructure projects are managed, and I'm going to highlight four of the most important added values. So the first one is that it serves all stakeholders, including contractors, consultants, and many more, by aligning everyone under one unified framework. Next, it creates a clear link between what's required and what's considered a violation and how work should be carried out. It also connects each code item to specific project phases, making it easier to understand when and how to apply each requirement. And lastly, it offers guidance that helps reduce risks and maximize outcomes, whether in terms of quality, safety, or efficiency. Okay, so let's say I decide to actually follow the code. What are the real practical benefits I'm going to see? So let's take a closer look at what those benefits actually are. First, it improves the overall quality of life for residents by making infrastructure safer, cleaner, and more reliable. It also raises the level of compliance. The code brings clarity and transparency, which helps reduce mistakes and ensures that everyone is on the same page. Improved urban landscape, thanks to the detailed planning and design standards, financial sustainability, by using clear methods and smart tools that reduce waste. So how are all these benefits achieved? The code was designed to solve challenges through innovative solutions. It also makes the work easier for everyone involved by bringing all stakeholders together under one clear system. All right, so let's ask another important question. Who exactly is affected by this code and who needs to be aware of it and apply it? So we have a large group of stakeholders who intersect with infrastructure projects and are directly impacted by the code. This includes government agencies, service providers like electricity, water, and telecom, contractors and consultants, laboratories involved in testing and quality control, the public as end users of the infrastructure, and RIPC inspectors who monitor compliance on site. That's why understanding the code is essential for anyone working in or around infrastructure in Riyadh. Now that we've covered what the code is and who it affects, let's take a look at how it came together. What's the timeline behind building and activating the infrastructure code? So to give you a quick overview of how the code was developed, the journey to creating the code began in March 2024, where we started by studying international standards and reviewing local practices to build a strong foundation. And then in October, we launched the first draft of the code. After that, we held several workshops with some stakeholders to gather feedback and make improvements. Based on that input, the second draft was issued in November 10, and afterwards we ran a pilot project where we applied the code requirements in a real-world setting with a contractor. By mid-November, we conducted workshops with service entities to gather their feedback, and the final draft was launched on November 26. It was then approved by the RRPC Board of Directors in January 2025. We're currently in the awareness phase, which has been going on for 6 months. And during this time, we're conducting workshops like this one and posting awareness content on platforms like X and LinkedIn to make sure everyone understands the code before it becomes official. And the code will be formally activated on August 6, 2025. By then, it's expected that all stakeholders will be fully familiar with its structure and requirements. Now let's move into one of the most important parts of this workshop. What is the infrastructure code made of? In the next slide, I'll show you exactly how this structure works and why it's designed to be easy to follow and apply on real projects. Let's break down how the code is actually structured. The infrastructure code is built around a clear three-level methodology that covers all parts of a project, from planning to execution and closure. So first we have the main stages. There are 6 of them, and these represent the highest level phases of an infrastructure project, like planning, execution, and inspection. And then we move to the sub-stages. So the code defines 22 sub-stages that go into more detail within each main phase. And finally, we reach the technical detailed cards. These are where the real application happens. The code includes 58 cards that provide the specific requirements, procedures, and standards for each task. So as mentioned before, the code contains detailed requirements that must be read and reviewed carefully outside of this workshop. The first main stage in the code is project planning, and like we all know, no project can start without solid planning. So this is all about getting everything ready before the execution begins. That includes defining how the work will be done, securing permits, identifying risks, and setting safety and environmental standards. We also consider things like traffic control, emergency planning and waste management, and community engagement. All of these fall under planning. So the goal here is to build a strong foundation that supports the entire project from start to finish. And as you can see, the code gives structure to every detail right from the beginning. Under the project planning stage, we have 10 important substages, each focusing on a key area that needs to be prepared before execution begins. Let me quickly walk you through each one. Permitting, this covers the process of obtaining the necessary approvals before starting work. It ensures that everything is officially authorized and aligns with city requirements. Next, work execution plan and risk management. Here we define how the work will be carried out and assess potential risks so they can be mitigated before the project starts. Traffic control. This involves planning how traffic will be managed during the project to ensure safety and minimize disruption to the public. Health and safety management. This substage sets the safety standards and procedures to protect workers and the public. Environmental management. Here, the goal is to reduce the project's environmental impact, make sure work is done in line with sustainability principles. Waste management. This defines how waste generated by the project will be handled, stored, and disposed of properly. Quality assurance and control. This substage ensures that all materials, processes, and results meet the required quality standards. Emergency management. Plans are put in place to respond quickly and effectively to unexpected incidents or emergencies on site. Community outreach and accessibility. This focuses on notifying nearby residents, making the site accessible, and minimizing disturbance to the public. And lastly, protecting assets and minimizing disruption. This substage ensures that existing infrastructure and services are protected during the works with minimal disruption to the city. So the second main stage in the code is spatial planning, and this stage focuses on preparing the physical work execution site and directly managing it. It ensures that the space is safe, organized, and ready for any on-site activities. So this breaks this down into four important substages. The site safety substage, which is making sure that the work environment is protected and follows safety standards before and during execution. Barriers and warning measures. So this means putting up the right signage and barriers to prevent accidents. Work zone management, which is organizing the layout of the site, like entry and exit points, buffer zones, and equipment placement. Access and communication elements. This defines how people and vehicles move in and out of the site and how communication is handled clearly. So as you can see, spatial planning is all about creating a controlled, safe, and efficient project environment before any work begins. So now we move on to the heart of the project, execution. This is where all the planning comes to life, preparing the site, carrying out different types of excavations, and finally restoring the site through reinstatement works. So this stage makes sure that each part of the execution is done safely, correctly, and in line with the guidelines outlined in the code, which again is a major reason the code is such a powerful tool. So this is where the actual work happens on the ground. And this stage includes three key substages. First, site preparation and management, which means getting the site ready for execution. This includes organizing the layout, mobilizing equipment, and ensuring safety measures are in place. Excavation types and guidelines. Following proper methods based on soil type, depth, and other factors to make sure excavation is done safely and correctly. Reinstatement works. Once the work is done, this step ensures that the site is restored, like repaving roads, reinstalling signs, and returning the area to its original or better condition. Now moving on to the fourth stage, project inspection and compliance. This stage is all about monitoring what's actually happening on site, including the roles and responsibilities of all stakeholders involved, as well as the inspection processes. So making sure that the work is being done properly and according to the code. This stage includes two substages, inspection and violations, where regular inspections are conducted to make sure that work complies with the code, and if violations are found, they're recorded and corrective actions are taken. Appeals and complaints. This provides a clear process for contractors or any involved party to submit objections or raise concerns, and this ensures that these are handled transparently and fairly. This stage plays a critical role in ensuring transparency, accountability, and continuous improvement through the execution of infrastructure projects. So after execution and inspection, we move into the project closure stage. This is when the project officially wraps up. Excavation areas are closed, the site is cleaned and restored, and all required documentation is completed. It includes only one substage, which is, as part of this process, permits and licenses are formally closed out, and the contractor receives the completion certificate to confirm that all work has been properly finalized and delivered. And lastly, we have the general considerations stage. So this stage looks beyond construction. It focuses on how we can use technology and data to improve infrastructure project outcomes. It includes two substages, which are leveraging technology, where you use tools, systems, and innovations to improve how projects are planned, managed, and executed, and maximizing data capture, where ensuring that accurate data is collected and used to support better decision-making and long-term improvements. So these two areas are key to making infrastructure projects more smart and efficient. Now my colleague will show you how to read the code manual.
Thank you. Now let's move on to the other section. So this code, the code manual here, it's divided into 13 components. A couple of those components are the rationale, which is basically how does Rubik intersects with this code, context, what is the point of this code and what it does, and positive effects, what are the effects of after applying this code. However, the most important component of this code are the requirements table, as you can see right here. Because this is the core business of the whole code. As you can see, we have four main requirements: shall, should, consider, and advise. Failure to adhere shall will result halting the whole project, while failure to do should could result delays in the work. Consider are good practices, and finally advise is the best practices. All of these requirements will raise the quality of the work within the project, and by applying these four requirements, you will gain financial stability alongside you will gain credits for your project. And as we can see right here, we have a couple of illustrations and examples for additional materials that help us understand the code, which we'll talk about it shortly. Now we'll get a little bit more deeper into the items within the manual. We'll break down how each substage is structured, what kind of information it provides within these items. However, the goal here is to make sure you feel confident locating the items within the code, but I won't be going over each item individually, but rather focusing on what kind of information each section provides. Now let's see our first main stage right here, which is basically the project planning. This stage focuses on arranging and preparing the necessary tools and capabilities before any implementation begins. It sets the foundation for everything that follows by ensuring all planning elements are in place. We have our first substage, which is permitting, and it has basically one card that talks about permitting requirements. If you open up this card guides us through the permit process. This card also helps us identify what permits are required for a specific type of work. And just as importantly, it outlines the key requirements and conditions that must be met during the permitting phase. Also, if we were looking at any supporting material right here, we could see as on the left, we could see the processes for getting the permits, and also on the right we have a table that showcases the road category and also the service entity submit permit, and also some more details to understand the code itself. Now let's move on to the other sub-stage, which is basically the work execution plan and risk management. This part addresses how to identify and manage potential risks related to roads, work areas, and existing utilities. The goal here is to ensure that any risks are assessed early on and mitigation measures are clearly defined before any execution begins. Let's see our first card right here, which is basically work execution plan. We call it WEP. This card outlines the key aspects of how specific tasks will be carried out, including safety measures, the chosen methodology, and how compliance will be ensured. It's important to understand that this card helps to ensure that the work is planned thoughtfully, safely, and in line with the required standards. Let's move on to the next card here, which is the risk management by road types location. This card helps us identify potential risks based on where the work is taking place, whether on highways, local roads, or any internal streets, and adjust the planning and safety measures accordingly. The idea here is to ensure that the level of risk is understood in context and that the right precautions are necessary to take in from the start. Let's move on to the other card right here, which is the site risk assessment. This card focuses on identifying and evaluating risks that are unique to each project site, whether it's due to surrounding infrastructure, environmental conditions, or other local factors. This card aims to make sure that any specific risks are considered early and addressed appropriately before work begins. Let's move on to the other card right here, which is the key risks and hazards in utility works. This card focuses on common dangers that may arise when working near or around utility lines, such as water, electricity, gas, and telecom. The card helps raise awareness of these risks so that proper precautions can be built on into the work plan from the beginning of the project. Let's move on to the other card right here, which is the subsurface utilities risks and assessment. This card deals with evaluating risk related to subsurface utilities that may not be immediately visible to such as the buried cables, pipelines, or drainage systems. The aim is to minimize the chance of unexpected damage or safety issues during excavations, for example, or any related work that may affect the utility. If we showcase this card right here that I'm talking about, this showcases the utility risks and assessments during any excavation or any related work that could harm these assets, let's call it, underneath the project. Now let's move on to our final cover here, which is the critical infrastructure guideline. It provides direction on how to handle work near essential infrastructure, such as major power lines, water mains, where any impact could have serious consequences. The guidelines here help ensure that extra care and coordination are in place when working around these sensitive assets, especially near airports, hospitals, banks, and any other essential entities. And if we take a closer look at here at one of the supporting materials, we could see the subsurface utility risk assessment on the left. We have a table that showcases the road categories and also what details that may necessary to read. And again, the whole main goal here for this workshop is to showcase or give you the confidence enough to locate items, but we won't give you exact details for every single card. We need to read it thoroughly after this workshop. But again, this workshop gives you enough confidence to locate the items within these cards. Let's move on to our next substage, which is basically the traffic control. This part focuses on planning how traffic will be managed around the work zone, whether it's pedestrian movements, vehicle flow, or access to nearby facilities. It ensures safety risks for the public and the crew. Let's see our first cover here, which is basically the traffic management plan. We call it TMP. It includes key site details, any necessary diversions, and takes into account external factors such as public holidays or nearby events that could affect construction progress or cause delays. The purpose here is to plan ahead and reduce disruptions, ensuring that work can continue safely and smoothly. And again, we need to read the cards thoroughly after this workshop. But it's again gives you enough confidence to locate the items. Let's move on to the next card right here, which is basically a temporary traffic control plan. This card focuses on managing traffic during the active phases of construction. When conditions on the sites are changing, it helps define how movements around the site should be adjusted temporarily to ensure safety and reduce any disruption. Moving on to our next card right here, which is the work zone area and management. This card helps us define how the work area should be organized, including access points, boundaries, and the entrance and exits for the work site. Also, it ensures the clear separation between the live traffic and the work areas. Moving on to our next cover here, which is the traffic signage and temporarily pavement making. It highlights the basic expectations for placing signs and markings during the work period to guide drivers and pedestrians safely around the site. It ensures that all temporary instructions are clear, visible, and appropriate for the type of road and work being done. Moving on to our next card right here, which is the traffic control devices and selection. It includes key site details, any necessary, right here. Yes. We move on to our next color here, which is the traffic control device. Like I said, it covers the use of essential safety tools like cones, barricades, barriers, and end protection. The card helps guide how to choose the right device and where to place them into to ensure the work zone is clearly marked and safe for both workers and the road users. Moving on to our final card for this substage right here, which is the temporary alignments. This card includes planning for temporary alignments such as merging lanes, shifting traffic flow, or creating alternative paths to maintain movements around the work zone. These adjustments help keep the traffic flowing safely while the main work is underway. And also, let's have a quick look here at the common warning signs on the left. Each one common warning signs, and also it has its name. And also on the right, the diversions and the signs that we need to use them when we decide to diverge another lane or switch on the other lane. Now let's move on to the other substage over here, which is the health and safety management. This part helps us manage risks specifically for infrastructure project that supports the creation of safe work environment that protects both workers and the public and contributes to clarifying the mechanism and procedures needed to promote safely throughout the different phases of the work. As I like here, I like to show the supporting material right here. Because why? Because it includes the general expectations to ensure a safe working environment, such as having a proper protective measures, clear responsibilities, and coordination among the team. The aim here is to reduce the risks that promote safety from the very start of the project. As you can see on the right, we have a matrix that outlines the risk tolerance level as it's presented in this additional supporting material for this guideline. And also I would like to remind you and again, we want to give you the confidence to locate the items, but we really need to read the cards after finishing this workshop. Now let's move on to the other substage right here, which is the environmental management. And in this case, the substage is represented by a single focused card. Let's open it up, which is basically the environmental management. This card helps us ensure that the environmental factors are considered before any work begins. It covers how to minimize impact on the surrounding environment and how to plan construction activities in a way that respects nearby nature or urban features and also reduces any negative impact that surrounds the environment. Moving on to our next substage, which is the waste management. And also keep in mind that this session is a high level, so we won't be able to go into full details for each card, but we want to make sure to check the code itself for the completion of the information and getting the exact information. Let's continue on to the next substage right here, which is basically the waste management. This exact substage talks about the waste management, which is also represented by a dedicated card. This is crucial because it addresses how all waste generated during the project and it's handled responsibly, and the proper waste management helps protect the environment and keeps the worksite clean and ensures the compliance with also the regulations. Let's open up this card right here, and this card outlines how to plan for collecting, sorting, and also storing the disposing of waste materials effectively throughout the project lifecycle. It also encourages to reduce waste where possible, recycling materials, and preventing any contamination that could happen in the project. Let's move on to our next substage here, which is the quality assurance and control. This substage focuses on ensuring that all work meets the required standards and specifications throughout the project. It involves planning how quality will be monitored, checked, and maintained from start to finish the project. Let's see our first our dedicated card right here, which is the quality assurance control. It highlights the process in place to ensure that work consistently meets the required standards. For example, the code covers regular inspections and applying strict testing thresholds to make sure the work meets the required standards consistently. And also, if we have a closer look at the supporting material right here, we can see on the left, we have a quality control plan and also a bunch of elements that we need to take into consideration. As long as on the right, we have the risk management and also the QMS training and also all the exact details that we need to look through after this workshop. Moving on to our next sub-stage here, which is basically the emergency management. And it is represented by one dedicated card. This sub-stage right here focuses on preparing for unexpected situations that could impact safety, the environment, or even the progress of the project. It responds quickly and effectively to emergencies such as accidents and also any environmental accidents or any disruptions on site. Let's have a closer look at this card. We can see this card helps us define the roles, communication protocols, and response procedures so that everyone knows what to do in case of any emergency that could happen during the project itself. Moving on to our next sub-stage right here, which is the community awareness and accessibility. And it is supported by one dedicated card. This sub-stage focuses on keeping the surrounding community informed and minimizing the impact of the work on the daily life. Let's open up this card and showcase this card here. This card ensures us that residents, businesses, and or even the road users are aware of the project, especially if it affects the access or movement around the area during the work site. Moving on to our next sub-stage over here, which is the protecting assets and minimizing disruptions. It is represented by one focus card. This sub-stage emphasizes the importance of early on coordination with different stakeholders to help identify underground services and sensitive infrastructure before work begins. It also contribute to maintaining service levels and also minimizing the disruptions during construction. Let's have a closer look at this card right here. And also, this card contributes to reducing disruptions and avoiding unnecessary damage during the project. It also plays a major role in minimizing the visual distortion and also preserving the surrounding environment during the execution of the infrastructure works itself, helping ensure the project is carried out in a way that both efficient and respectful to its context. Let's now move on to our next main stage, which is the spatial planning. This stage focuses on arranging and preparing the physical space, tools, and capabilities needed before actual work begins. It ensures that everything is organized on site in a way that supports smooth, safe, and efficient execution. Let's see our first substage, which is basically the site safety, and it has 4 dedicated cards. Let's see our first card right here, which is the personal protective equipment. We call it the PPE. It highlights the basic safety gear required on site, such as the helmets, gloves, safety jackets, and other protective items, ensuring the well-being of the workers during the project execution. This card helps us define the equipment is needed and under what condition it should be used. Moving on to our next card right here, which is the lighting handheld and portable floodlights. This card focuses on the lighting again, but it's specifically I'll shed the lights on the portable floodlights. It ensures that the work areas remain well lit, especially during the low light conditions or nighttime operations. Proper lighting supports both safety and visibility, helping workers perform tasks accurately and reducing the risk of accidents. And it's really, really important to read thoroughly these items for the safety for the workers, and also helps to execute the projects under in the right conditions. But again, the purpose here to just shed the light on the importance of the cards and also looking at the items. Moving on to our next card right here, which is the pole-mounted floodlights. It highlights the need for stable, elevated lighting to cover larger worker areas, especially during the nighttime or in low visibility conditions. These lights help improve the overall site visibility that supports safe operations and ensure that both workers and the equipment can function effectively. And moving on to our next speaking flight, let's move on to the pole-mounted flight lights. Again, I'd like to shed the light on this one because it's really important to read them after this workshop, specifically for this mounted floodlights and also the portable floodlights that has a lot of details, and also we require to read them. Let's move on to the noise management card right here, which is basically, it talks about the noise management during the project itself. It helps us ensure that noise levels during the construction are controlled to minimize disturbance to surrounding areas, especially in residential, commercial, or even sensitive environment. The card supports planning measures that reduce unnecessary noise and also promotes safer, more considerate working conditions. And moving on to our last card right here, which is the lighting in general. This card right here showcases the details around the lighting in general. What do we mean by this exactly? It emphasizes the importance of adequate lighting across all work areas to ensure safety, visibility, and even efficient operations at any time of the day. Proper lighting helps prevent accidents and supports the quality work regardless of the nature lights condition. And also, I would like to shed the light on the here. Do you remember what I showcases the personal protective equipment we call PPE? On the left, you could see the illustrations and graphs for the PPE, and also on the right, we have the noise management, like this I showcased right here. And also below it, we have the general site levels, the tables that showcases the exact details here. And again, it's really important to read them after finishing this recording within the workshop. Moving on to the next substage right here, which is the barriers and warning measures. This area deals with the physical and visual tools to use to protect both workers and also the public around the work zone. It includes the placements of the barriers, warning signs, and other measures designed to clearly mark hazardous area and guides us to safe movement. Let's see our first card right here, which is channelizing devices and barriers placement. It provides guidance on how to use cones, drums, and other devices to direct traffic safely around the work zone. It also covers where and how to place the barriers to protect both workers and the public from hazards. And speaking of hazards, let's move on to the other card here, which is the temporary safety barriers installation. This card focuses on how to properly install the barriers and separate active work zones from traffic or pedestrian areas, helping to prevent accidental access and enhance overall site safety. These barriers are especially important in high risks or high traffic areas. Moving on to our next card right here, which is the battery operated warning lights. This card showcases they used to increase visibility around the work zone, especially at night or in low light conditions. They serve as a visual alert to drivers and pedestrians, helping to prevent accidents and guide safe movements around active areas. Let's move on to our next card, which is the hazard identification beacons. This card focuses on the beacons are placed in areas with elevated risks to draw attention to specific hazards such as open excavations, restricted zones, moving equipment. The purpose is to provide a clear visual alert that helps prevent accidents and improve awareness on sites if it needed. Moving on, speaking of beacons, let's move on to our next card, which is the flashing warning arrow signs. This card focuses on the flashing warning arrow signs. These signs are used to guide traffic safely around the work zones by providing a clear, highly visible directional signal, especially in areas where lanes are closed or shifted. They help to reduce confusion and support smooth vehicle movement near active sites. And let's move on to our next card, which is the hand signal devices and paddles. This card, the purpose here is to showcase that the tools are used on site personnel to communicate directly with drivers, machinery operators, especially in areas where visibility is limited or traffic needs to be manually controlled. They help to ensure clear, consistent signals for safe movement around the work zone. Let's move on to our next card over here, which is the traffic control signs. This card right here, it showcases the signs are used to inform, guide, and warn drivers and pedestrians around the work zone. They play a critical role in communicating changes in road conditions, detours, and speed limits, and other important instructions that is related to the project itself. And let's go to our final card right here, which is the advanced warning area setup. It covers how to set up warning areas ahead of the work zone to alert drivers and pedestrians in advance. This early notice gives them enough time to slow down, change lanes, or take alternate roads safely before reaching the actual work area. And I would like to see one of the supporting materials I would like to showcase right here. As you can see on the left, we have the temporary safety barriers table. It showcases the site traffic speed and also the distance and when to use each barrier. And also on the right, we have the traffic speed and also when and how to use every sign right here. And again, it's really important to read them after finishing this workshop right here. Let's move on to our next substage right here, which is the work zone management. This substage focuses on how the construction site is organized and controlled during the active work. It includes planning, the layout of the zone, managing the movement within it, and also ensuring that safety, access, and efficiently are maintained throughout the execution phase. Let's see our first card right here, which is the transitional zone management. Card, it addresses the area where traffic shifts from normal flow into the work zone. This zone requires careful planning to ensure that vehicles can slow down, merge, or change direction safely before entering the work zone area or any active, let's call it active work area in the project. And speaking of this, let's move on to our next card right here, which is the safety buffer zone requirements. This card, it showcases the buffer zone is a designated space between the moving traffic and the active work area. It provides a safety margin to protect the workers from passing vehicles and helps absorb the impact of unexpected movement. Let's move on to our next color here, which is the lateral buffer zone specifications. It defines the site-to-site space that must be maintained between the active work area and the traffic or other hazards that could be within the project. This little buffer helps protect the workers and also equipment from vehicles and provides room for safe operations. Let's move on to our next car right here, which is the lane weight of weights and adjustments in work zones. It addresses how traffic lanes may need to be narrowed or also shifted to accommodate the work area while maintaining safe and efficient vehicle flow. Proper adjustments help balance space for construction activities within the need to keep traffic moving smoothly. Let's move on to our next car right here, which is the termination area work and zone access management. It covers how to safely end work zone, allowing traffic to return to normal flow smoothly. It also addresses controlling access point to the work area to ensure only authorized personnel and also personnel and vehicles enter the sites. And last car right here, which is the pedestrian walkways and paths management. This card focuses on pedestrian walkways and path management, which ensures the safe and accessible routes for pedestrians around or through the work zone within the project. Proper planning helps prevent accidents and maintain smooth foot traffic even during the active construction phase. And I would like to showcase here a little quickly the supplementary material, which is on the left. We can see the lateral buffer zone and also the graph right here. And also on the right, we can see the termination work zone. And also I would like to showcase the shifting lanes and also what to look for, exact details. And also I would like to address the importance to reading these cards after completing this recorded workshop. Moving on to our next substage right here, which is the access and communication protocols. This section focuses on managing how personal vehicles and information flow in and out of the work zone. It includes establishing clear rules for sites access and also ensuring effective communication among teams with external stakeholders. Let's see our first car right here, which is the curb ramps and footway boards. This card focuses on, again, curb ramps and footway boards. It ensures that safe, temporary solutions are in place where walkways are affected by construction, and these features help maintain accessibility for our pedestrians and also helps to communicate the pedestrians to alert them within these curbs and ramps and footway boards. Let's move on to our next card right here, which is the project's information bot, which is really a key, I would like to call it a key aspect of the communication between the stakeholders within the project and also the pedestrians or even vehicles. These reports are placed near the work zone to provide clear and accessible information to the public. They typically include details such as the project name, duration, responsible entity, and the contact information for inquiries or even emergency if, God forbid, everything happened, let's call it emergency scenario within the project. And lastly, we have the advanced communication with the stakeholders. This card emphasizes the importance of engaging with the stakeholders early on in the project using clear and timely communication. This helps set expectations, resolve concerns in advance, and ultimately reduces the risks of delays or disruptions during the projects. And we don't want any disruptions in the project, right? So it's really important to read this card thoroughly after finishing this recording. And I want to showcase quickly here our supporting material right here, which is we could see on the left, channelizing devices, barrier placement, and on the right, the PIB, which is the project information boards, the contact for the contractor, the name of the project, and etc. And also the important more details about this supporting material. Now, let's move on to the next stage right here, which is the project implementation. This stage focuses on the actual execution of the planned work. It includes on-site setup, daily operations, coordination among teams, and ensuring that tasks are carried out safely and efficiently. It also addresses the excavations, the instatement sites, and also safety, and even more, which we'll cover it in these cards. Let's see here our first substage right here is the site preparation and management, and it has three dedicated cards, which is basically talks about the contributing, supporting, coordination within the team, within the site itself, and also the management and roles, continuous to coordination between the various stakeholders. Let's see our first card right here, which is the pre-mobilization and site preparation requirements. Before work begins on site, there are several key elements that must be in place. These include finalizing required documentation, checking that all equipment is ready and in working order, and coordinating with the involved parties, and setting up the initial traffic management plan. Also, a lot more details that we cannot cover this within the recording, but to showcase and also shed a light on the importance of the key aspects, and also I would like to read them after finishing the recording. Moving on to our next card, which is the project execution process and responsibilities. It outlines how the work should be carried out on site and clarifies the roles and responsibilities for the different teams involved. The focus is on the maintaining coordination, meeting planned and timelines, and also ensuring tasks are executed safely and in compliance with the all requirements that shall be cases in within these shall and should be considered. Moving on to our last card right here, which is the site management and safety protocols. It covers the overall management of the site during project execution, with emphasis on maintaining a clean, organized, and safe work environment. This includes daily upkeep, proper arrangements of the materials and equipment, and strict compliance to safety practices that we need to read them thoroughly within these cards. And I'd like to showcase quickly right here the supplementary or supporting materials. On the left, we can see the pre-mobilization and site preparation, what to look for and what to do, and for attending the site, and also the tasks for the contractor to do it. Also on the right, we have the project execution process and responsibilities that we need to check them before the workshop. Moving on to our next substage right here, which is the excavation types and guidelines. This section outlines how excavation should be carried out based on the nature of the site and the surrounding environment. It includes both open and closed excavation techniques and also specifications, as well as the guidelines tailored to different soil types and the depths. Let's take a closer look at here, which is the open excavation techniques and specifications. It covers the standard methods used when the excavation area is exposed to the surface. Typically, for tasks like, for example, utility installation, road works, or shallow trenching. The card outlines the general specifications to ensure that excavations is done safely, efficiently, and with the minimal disruptions to the surrounding area. And speaking of the open excavation types, let's move on to the closed excavation techniques and specifications. This card covers the specialized methods used when the excavation needs to take place with minimal surface disruptions. Techniques such as pipe jacking and thrust boring and allow the underground installations to be carried out without open trenching, making them ideal in cognated urban areas and also under roads and structures within the projects. And let's move on to the final card right here, which is the excavation guidelines based on soil type and the depth. It provides the direction on how to plan and carry out excavation activities based on the types of the soil and the required excavation depths. These types influence the choice of excavation methods and also the slope stability to ensure the structural stability and safety. And I would like to showcase right here one of the supporting material, which is really important to look through. On the right, we have on the left, we have the open excavation techniques and specifications. We have a couple of pictures and examples, and also on the right, we have a bunch of requirements that we need to read them thoroughly within these cards to understand the items within the card itself. Moving on to our next substage, which is the reinstatement works, which is, okay, we finished the excavation, now let's move on to the reinstatement works. This part focuses on the restoring the sites once the main construction activities are complete. It involves returning roads, pavements, surfaces, and surrounding areas to their original or approved condition, ensuring quality and also safety consistency within their surrounding environments. We have two dedicated cards right here. Let's see our first card right here, which is the reinstatement procedures and the quality standards. This card showcases the bringing on roads, pavements, and also the surrounding features back to their original and approved condition. The emphasis is on ensuring the long-term durability, safety, and a consistent appearance with the surrounding environments that showcases the reinstatement procedures and quality standards. And again, it's really important to read these requirements to fully understand with the items within, to implement these items within the project. Moving on to our next card right here, which is the special reinstatement conditions based on road category. We have different types of roads, such as highways, local streets, and also internal streets. These streets have specific restoration requirements and techniques. These could incur stricter material standards and also longer curing times, or even enhanced surface treatments to match the original conditions, also traffic demands. Each road category here has its own requirements and also how to deal with them during the projects right here. And also it has material right here that showcases the exact special conditions for reinstatements and also the quality standards that we need to look through them after this workshop. Okay, let's move on to our next main stage right here, which is the control and compliance. This stage focuses on overseeing the implementation of the project to ensure it aligns with the approved plans and safety rules and also regulatory standards, which includes conducting inspections, managing and responding to the violations, and also actively monitoring risks throughout the project phases. Let's move on to our first substage, which is the inspections and violations. This substage covers 3 dedicated cards. The purpose of this substage is to enhance safety and compliance quality throughout the regular monitoring by the center dedicated to non-compliance, and also to clarify the various tasks within each project and also their roles and responsibilities. And speaking of this, let's see our first dedicated card right here, which is the powers of RIPIC to inspect, monitor, and control. It confirms the authority of Riyadh Infrastructure Project Center, RIPIC, to carry out field inspections, request documentation, verify compliance with the regulations, and take necessary actions when violations are found. These powers help to ensure that all work aligns with safety, quality, and regulatory requirements. And speaking of the regulatory requirements, let's see the roles and responsibilities for each stakeholder right here. This card ensures that everyone involved knows their duties and maintaining order on site, supporting compliance, and also responding effectively in case of emergencies. Clear coordination among these parties helps prevent confusion, manage risks, and also keep the project running safely and efficiently. And let's see our last card right here, which is risk-based approach to inspections and violations. This card helps prioritize oversight of efforts based on the level potential risks. We have category A, high risks, category B, medium risks, and also category C, low risks. With each category has its own coordination and risk mitigation. And speaking of these categories, let's see our supporting material right here. Just as just like I said, we have a typical characteristics here: high risks, medium risks, and also low risks. And also we have each let's call it approach right here on what to do exactly that we need to look through them within the cards. Let's move on to our next substage right here, which is the appeals and complaints. This section outlines the formal process for handling objections or concerns raised by project stakeholders, whether related to violations, inspections, or site conditions. It ensures that there is a clear and transparent way to raise issues, to request reviews, or contest decisions made during the project. We have two dedicated cards right here, which is first one, we have the appeals process for contractors. This card outlines how contractors can formally raise concerns or challenge decisions made during the project. Moreover, in some cases, the requirements for the appeals process, for like example, contractors shall submit appeals within 60 days of penalty notification via designated channels, and also a lot of requirements and standards, and we need to read them after finishing on this recording. We have a next card right here, which is the compliance management for residents or road users. It outlines how members of the public, such as nearby residents, pedestrians, or drivers, can report concerns related to the project. These may include issues with safety, accessibility, or site maintenance that affect their daily lives or mobility around the work zone. And also have a supporting material right here, which is you have the process and also the workflow on the right that showcases the card and helps us understand these items. Moving on to our next main stage right here, which is the project's closure. It has a one substage, which is the project closure also, and also it has one dedicated card, which is again the project closure. This stage focuses on the completing all remaining tasks to formally close out the project. It includes the final inspections, documentation handover, site and cleanup, and ensuring that all commitments have been met to the satisfaction of the stakeholders. And let's have a close look at this card, which outlines the final steps needed to complete the project, including finishing any outstanding work, conducting final inspections, handing over documentation, and also restoring it to the original site. The goal is to ensure that project is fully completed within the compliant and also closed out in any orderly manner. It also has a supporting material. On the right, we have the workflow, and also on the left, we have a couple of standards for the project closure that we need to read them because we cannot cover each item within the workshop. But again, we want to give you the confidence enough to locate these items. And speaking of these items, we have our last main stage right here, which is the general considerations. What do we mean by this? This stage highlights the importance of the integrating modern technologies and also the direct use of data throughout the project lifecycle. It supports informed decision-making and enhanced monitoring and improves the overall project efficiency and effectiveness. Let's take a closer look at the dedicated color here, which is the leveraging technology. It ensures that all projects, for example, all project drawings are created using specialized software or tools to enhance accuracy and coordinations, and also promote the use of LED lighting for energy efficiency and the use of solar powered lighting for non-critical illuminated areas to support sustainability. And let's see our next and next and also final substage here, which is the maximizing data capture. And what do we mean by this? It focuses on capturing complete and accurate information throughout the project. This helps analyze reliable data to support better decision making and also contributes to enhancing integration between the various project phases. And let's take a closer look to this final card right here, which is ensures the relevant information is consistently documented to help analyze accurate data, support better decision making, and also enhance integration between different project phases. Thank you again for listening. And again, this workshop, while it covered all the cards, we didn't cover exact each details for the tools. Again, we need to read them after finishing up this workshop. But again, we want to shed a light and also give you the purpose here for this whole recording to give you the enough confidence to locate each item within the code and also to read them and shed the importance of these cards. As you can see on the left, top left, we have a QR code. This helps us to access the infrastructure project code. If you scan it, it goes you through the whole code itself. And also, if you want to locate, you could locate the code if you go to the Rubik website, you could go to the media center. Also underneath, you'd have regulation procedures. And also, if you have any inquiries and also comments, you could call us within this number. And also underneath, we have our email, which is the dedicated code infrastructure project code, which is this email is dedicated for the code itself. So any inquiries, comments about the code, you could send this through the email, and there's a designated team to help you and support you within if you have any inquiries. Thank you for listening. And if you have any comments and concerns, you could reach out to our email and also the call. Thanks for listening.